love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Jago, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome to this episode. I am happy to be back. I'm really looking forward to chatting more about self-love. I think that, February is the month of love, very commercialized, but we're going to get back into the basics of what does it look like to truly love ourselves. And I hosted a free challenge actually about this called the Embrace Your Body Challenge. And it was all about just how to take, for example, the 5 love languages and break them down into the 5 self-love languages. Like, how do you best receive love? Through self-love, because some things might work for some people that don't work for you. Like saying affirmations might not really hit you the same way that physical touch does for you for self-love. So there are a lot of different ways to embrace that. And I talk about it a lot in the challenge. So be sure to join my Facebook group if you're not, so you can watch the replay of everything. But today we're going to really dive into self-confidence, and self-love has to do and ties in with self-confidence as well. And I have a question for you. If you woke up tomorrow 100% confident in your skin, how would your life change? What would you do differently? Like, seriously, I want you to take a second, stop what you're doing, pause this episode, and write down, what would you be doing? How would you be showing up differently in your life, in your career, in your relationships, with your own self? How would you see yourself? What would you be doing? What would you be wearing? And I'm asking these specific questions because having that clear visual of that most confident, I call it your highest self, is so valuable, because if you can see it in your mind, you can make it a reality because it's already there. It's already within you. And this question might sound a little crazy, but it's actually one that I ask every single one of my new clients when they're being onboarded into Body Confident Blueprint. Once they first join, I ask them that question. And I actually have some of their answers here, and I'd love to read them with you if you don't mind. So, if you woke up tomorrow 100% confident, I would wake up in a positive mood and stop doubting myself. It would immensely change my perspective. I'd focus on what I love about myself rather than what I'm not happy with. I would stop second guessing myself so much, stick to my guns more, and put myself first more often. I'd stop caring about what people think of me and just live my life the way with the confidence I know I deserve. I would focus more on the day ahead of me and experience life more fully instead of being so focused on myself. I would meet my friends and family and have a great time with them without thinking about how I look, how my body looks, or what others think of me. These are great. I would look in the mirror more often. I'd be thrilled with what I see, and I'm sure my marriage would continue to get stronger as the self-doubt lessened. I would go around super confident, super happy, and full of energy. I'd show up unapologetically without any hesitation of sharing any messages and simply being me. I would no longer have any more excuses to not show up. I would be able to show up 100% and be able to focus more. Would put myself out there and show up more. This one's my favorite. I'd be putting it down every damn night. Like, that one got me so excited because it's just all of these have different themes that I was seeing. And it was this idea of, if I was more confident, I would stop doubting myself. If I was more confident, I would experience life more fully. If I was fully confident, I would realize I was enough. I would look in the mirror and believe that. I would show up more in my life. Those are the themes I'm seeing, is like showing up more, being more present, and fully living your life without doubt. And I think this goes to show that all of us are wanting the same thing. And so many of us are chasing this idea of confidence and thinking that it has to do with a number on a scale, and thinking that it has to do when you are enough. And the truth is, you already are enough. You already have within you this confidence. It's there. It's just about figuring out how to tap into it, right? how to show up as yourself, as your most confident self. And I don't know if you've seen the movie, but it's called I Feel Pretty, and it has Amy Schumer in it, and it literally takes this concept to an extreme, right? It has to do with her. I won't ruin everything for you, but she wakes up and she feels confident in her skin. Like, she literally feels like when she's looking at herself, 100% feeling herself, not doubting herself at all, not picking herself apart in the mirror. Literally, she is her own hype woman, like 110%. And by society standards, they might be a little confused by why she's feeling that way, but then overall it turns into this like, wow, like if she's feeling this way, like I can feel this way. And it essentially opens up space for more people to feel that confidence. And that's something that is my why. It's why I want to show up more confidently, so that you guys can see you don't have to wait until X, Y, and Z happens to have that confidence. And it's something that I talk about with my BCB clients all the time. And the truth is, it's time to stop waiting to love yourself until you feel 100% confident in your skin. You can start now. Literally, just start by visualizing that most confident version of yourself. Start there. So ask yourself that question and just start writing and who is that person? And then reminding yourself at the end of that she's already here. And then ask yourself, how can I tap into that more today? Every round of BCB, I have my clients fill out a form and it has that exact question. And those answers I just read are real answers from girls who were starting my program. And the reason I have them ask this question is, obviously, I want them to visualize it themselves, but it's so I can make it a goal as their coach to help them reach this feeling before they hit their goal weight. Because it's so important to prove to them and for them to prove to themselves that they can achieve this level of self-confidence without hitting a goal weight. I seriously make it my goal because that is so crucial for me to not associate that confidence, that level of self-achievement and self-love. I want them to not relay it to a number on the scale, because that is so important to recognize that those two are not tied together. Your self-worth is not tied to a number. Okay. So many of these women come into my program with a number on their mind. And again, I always say, I don't ever want you to feel judgment for wanting to lose weight, but I want you to understand and choose your why behind that. Because sometimes we come to a program like this wanting to lose weight when in reality, it's so much more than that. And in reality, that number that we had, we end up breaking up with because it's not actually that number that we're looking for. We're looking for confidence. We're looking to show up more for ourselves. We're looking to be more present in our lives. We're looking to feel more confident in our skin. And I became a coach because I saw the way most trainers in the gym were when they were working with their clients. They really didn't care to know the why behind their clients' desired weight loss. It's like they had this one-track mind and they didn't care how they got them to it. And again, I saw these self-defeated clients who weren't making the weight loss happen, or who did make the weight loss happen, but then they still weren't happy. And I care so much about the why. I care a lot about your why for creating change. I care so much. I literally have an entire module devoted to it in my BCB program, because I know that if we don't identify your why behind wanting to create change, it won't be strong enough to actually create that change you're looking for. You will feel stuck and self-defeated, and again, putting yourself down and speaking negatively because you didn't get there, when in reality, you can get there because it's already within you. It's just about finding a way to tap into that confidence, finding a way to see yourself the way that you want to see yourself. And the cool thing is, once my clients start to see that, they can unconditionally show up confidently for themselves. They become unshakable. They no longer are tying their self-worth to a number. They've tapped into their inner strength and confidence, and it goes beyond a list of rules and conditions and saying that, oh, I can only do this once I weigh this. Like, there's this idea in our head and this rule and condition. I call it like conditional self-love. And it's this idea of waiting to love yourself and saying, oh, once I reach this weight, or once I hit this pant size, or once I make this much money, then I'm truly going to live my life. Then I'm going to truly feel confident. Then I'm going to truly love myself. In fact, like, that condition that we're setting for ourselves, like, I challenge you to reach that level of self-love and confidence before any other goal is hit. because that's a sweet spot that turns self-doubting yo-yo dieters into confidence queens. And it's what I truly live for, is helping you realize that you can stop waiting to live your life. You can stop waiting to love yourself. That is what I wanted to chat about today on this episode, is the idea of unconditional self-love. And we might not recognize it, but even when we're searching for self-love, it's really easy for us to set conditions, right? It's like, okay, I'm allowed to love myself if I'm working out every day. I'm allowed to love myself if I look like this. I'm allowed to love myself if I hit my goals for the month. That is a conditional self-love that is not helping anything. Even when we're trying to make positive changes, a lot of times we're creating these ideas and conditions and rules behind those positive changes, right? We tell ourselves, oh, well, I want to eat healthy and I want to work out more and I want to lose weight. And like, we have these goals for ourselves. But when life happens and we miss the mark on the goals, or we don't do things perfectly, we don't allow ourselves to love ourselves anymore, right? We actually start to even sometimes turn towards hate or just negativity. We no longer are accepting of ourselves because we weren't perfect, because we didn't hit the mark. That's conditional self-love that you're giving yourself. Think about this with a relationship, right? If you were in a relationship with someone, or even a friendship, but let's stay with relationships. So if your partner, if every single time your partner did something crazy that really pissed you off, like left the toilet seat up or did that thing, that little thing that they do that really bugs you, but you let slide because you love them. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a noise they make when they're chew, or maybe it's that they always leave their shoes by the door. I don't know. I'm listing all the things that I do, by the way. I'm hard to live with sometimes. But if your partner, if you saw those things they were doing and you were like, okay, I don't love you anymore, I'm not going to treat you right, like, how messed up would that be, right? You're talking to a human who is imperfect, full of flaws, makes mistakes, just trying to live their life, and you're putting them down for making a mistake, or for not doing things exactly the way that you pictured them being done, or for life not working out just because circumstances went differently than planned, and blaming that on that person. Like, how wrong would that be? You wouldn't do that. I know you. I know you wouldn't do that because you have a heart. You care for others. You possess empathy. That level of empathy that you would have for your partner or for your friendships, of saying, hey, I understand. Life gets busy. You know what? I understand. I'm going to love you anyway. That level of unconditional self-love, you deserve that tenfold. You deserve that level of self-love. Loving yourself should not have a string of rules and conditions attached. And so if you're holding on to this level of loving yourself and waiting until you reach your end goal, or until you reach this perfect idea of what you think is deserving of love, you will never reach that point. As hard as it is to say, it's the truth. You won't reach that point because you're setting a standard that is impossible. And remember, there's a difference between having goals and setting standards for yourself versus setting like this perfect idea of who you need to be. We need to break up with this idea of perfection and instead create a vision of that person and who you want to be, and just start showing up. Every little thing you start doing to identify with that highest self, that most confident version of you, is getting you one step closer to her. It's helping you tap in a little bit more to who she is because she's already within you. If you're still struggling with that, give yourself grace and just start small. Just ask yourself this question of what you would do if you woke up 100% confident in yourself, and just start doing it. Something small that might feel a little bit uncomfortable and weird at first because you're like, I'm not confident yet. I don't feel that yet. Guess what? Just start. Because I've said this before, confidence doesn't show up until you do. So now it's your turn. My clients were super honest with what they would do differently if they felt 100% confident in their skin. And I want you to be too. I want you to take some time to write this down. If you woke up tomorrow 100% confident in your skin, how would your life change? What would you do differently? Thank you so much for listening to this episode. It really comes from my heart, honestly, because I spent so many years struggling with this and thinking I had to be perfect, and thinking that I couldn't love myself, I couldn't show up for myself, I couldn't be myself until I felt 100% confident. And the truth is, you can start now. So if this resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. I would love for you to screenshot this episode and share it. Be sure to tag me at JagoFitLife. The other thing I want to challenge you to do is share this episode with a friend who you know deserves this level of confidence in themselves. The other thing to remind yourself is that person you send it to, you also need to send it to yourself because you deserve that level of love and confidence unconditionally. Remember that. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here and honestly don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JagoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jagofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.